Combate Americas, what is the plan right now for Combate, for growth? What are you looking for with the company, where it is now? Where do you want it to go?
Combate Americas is now really on track for the plan we laid out a few years ago. We are looking to be the second sport for Hispanic sports fans around the globe. There's 1 billion Hispanics in the world. Soccer is the number one. We think we are the number 2 sport for Hispanic sports fans everywhere. Certainly the ratings in the U.S. and Mexico and Spain bear that out. We are beating every organization, including the UFC, in TV ratings in Mexico, in Spain, and in the U.S. in Spanish. We're beating everybody but the UFC in just plain old ratings, either Spanish or whatever. We beat everyone except the UFC in the U.S. in ratings. And we launch our first South American event in about 2 weeks in Lima, Peru. So we've had stunning success in the U.S., Mexico, and Spain. And those are the 3 biggest Spanish-speaking countries, with Mexico being first, U.S. second, and then Spain. And now we're looking to expand into South America. So the goal is to be the number 2 sport for Hispanic sports fans worldwide, and we're getting there quite fast.
When UFC inked a deal with ESPN, did that excite other promotions? Did that excite Combate Americas? Did that say something about the sport of MMA? You obviously, as a co-founder of UFC, you know what's going on, at least from an outsider, an insider. I'm just curious, when that happened, if that was exciting news, really didn't affect Combate Americas. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, it was a very big move. A very big move for one reason. Who owns ESPN? Disney owns ESPN. You have the House of Mouse, which traditionally has been the most conservative of media companies, embracing MMA. I think that was the quinceañera, the 15-year-old birthday party, the coming out party for MMA. That, to me, was the most important part of all that. Look, the deal is great. That shows you the value of live sports. There's a lot of reasons from a business point of view that I think it's great for the sport, great for Combate. But first and foremost, you have to look at this and go, Disney is in the MMA business. That makes it a mainstream sport.
What did Campbell McLaren think of Ronda Rousey in World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE?
I love WWE. I love Lucha Libre. I love the wrestling. Alberto del Rio was WWE's first Mexican heavyweight champion, and he's Combate Americas ambassador. He's a brand ambassador for us, an on-air commentator. I think it's great. I think the key component there is entertainment, right? Is she entertaining? Hell yes. So it's great. It is good. I think that I have never been a proponent or a supporter of the us versus them mentality that has been in MMA for a while. At the beginning, I took so much heat from the Don Kings in the boxing world because it was boxing versus MMA. And then, and now I have a bunch of young boxers transferring into MMA. Mexico's martial art is boxing. So I've never had any antipathy or any ill will towards boxing, but boxing certainly was mad at me at the beginning. And then now there's a growing feeling of ill will from MMA towards the wrestling community, for fans and the athletes that enter into it. And I think, look, in this day and age, there's room for everybody. I don't think anyone takes away from anything. God bless Ronda Rousey. God bless Vince McMahon. God bless America. I think it's terrific.
It is something because you look at the crossover, and there's been quite a few crossover between the two combat sports, the two entertainments, and that makes it exciting. And looking at your roster, too, Sexy Star Combate Americas, famous pro wrestler, especially in Mexico with AAA. And what are your thoughts of Sexy Star? She also did some boxing as well, and now she's into the MMA, so she's actually doing something that's just inspiring per se, because it's all three. She's done boxing, she's done pro wrestling, now in MMA. What are your thoughts of her?
Look, I think that, one, let's go back to your Jim, by the way, I'm impressed. These are smart questions. These are knowledgeable questions. And quite frankly, I don't always get smart questions or knowledgeable questions. I often get the other kind of questions. So that's a great question, too. And I'm glad you know of Sexy Star, Sexy Dulce. There's a tremendous amount of athleticism in WWE or Lucha Libre wrestling, right? Tremendous amount of athleticism. Regardless of whether you call it a sport or entertainment or whatever you call it, the athletic ability is pronounced. So she's got that. Boxing, it's great. It's a great part of the mix, too, right? The UFC was started by athletes who were grapplers that learned to punch. Combate is a sport that's punchers learning to grapple. So she fits in, boxing background fits in very well in Combate. And then, of course, you know, Sexy Star is a star. And what stars want to do is be on top and win. And beginning of this conversation, I mentioned, you know, there's two aspects to the fight game. There's the physical, which you have to have, but there's the mental. And she's got the mental. She's got the focus. She knows how to work it. Oftentimes the fight is won or lost at the weigh-in, because that's your chance to get inside your opponent's head. And I think she's terrific at that.
Campbell, thank you so much for the time. Anything you want to conclude with about Combate Americas? You spoke very well about everything today. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's because I had a good setup. Your questions are great, thoughtful, and intriguing, and make me want to answer. What I want to say is, look, we love Miami. The company started in Miami with our reality series. We started with Daddy Yankee as our first commissioner, and that was in Miami last week, by the way. And we do the DAZN English language shows from the Univision Studios in Doral. So love Miami, and think in some places Miami is the birthplace of Combate. So that's my thoughts.
Well, thank you, Campbell. Maybe one time we'll get you at the Miami Herald office. We're right down the road from Univision in Doral.
would love to do it. I'll bring you that coffee. We'll go out for lunch. We'll go to one of the Argentinian restaurants, whatever you like.
Thank you so much, Campbell.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.